Hey, ballers, welcome to If These Balls Could Talk. We talk about the latest in sports tech and pop culture. This is Mark along with John and Pete, and we would like to welcome back to the podcast Ms. Lillian Rice. Good evening, Lil, and how are things with you?
Hey, Lil.
Doing
Hello.
good. Hey, guys.
Welcome back.
Happy to be back.
What are you wearing? You're wearing a jersey, aren't you?
What the fuck?
Or hit that subscribe button, or as John and Pete love to hear me say, tickle that little bell.
Yes.
John, how you been?
Pete, Mark, your name is Mark. Mark, I'm asking the fans, what are they wearing?
Nice.
It's appropriate, I think.
That's
I'm
very
great.
appropriate.
I am great. Jamie and I are currently watching the Pirates of the Caribbean because I'm in this mission. I talked to you guys about this, but I'm trying to find all like the best action series from the last 15 years that she just doesn't know about. And I'm running out, and then I was just like flipping through a thing, and I was like, oh shit, we haven't watched Pirates yet. So we're on Dead Man's Chest, which is the second one. Orlando Bloom is still beautiful, and Johnny Depp is still drunk. And the movie so far is pretty great.
There you go.
Jeremy Rush, I think, is playing Davy Jones, but I have to confirm that. But he's great.
I haven't seen the second one.
He has a squid face. So yeah. Had ice cream today, but had to skip lunch because I was busy teaching somebody how to use their AV equipment.
Does that mean you had more ice cream?
I did. I had the same
Nice.
amount of ice cream,
I mean,
but it was still delicious.
You gotta make up those calories, right?
Hell yeah. How are you, Mark?
Oh, excuse me.
Besides
Wrong.
dying
Yeah.
and 30
Wrong
minutes
tube.
late, by the way, we
Wrong tube. Yeah.
apologize.
Yeah,
This is the final
sorry,
one, right?
sorry everyone. This is the final week where I'm going to be super late. The super secret mission will be happening a week from Saturday. I am actually hoping to do some kind of live feed for that.
Hell yeah.
Ooh.
I have to get permission to do that. That just sounds like you just smacked me, even though I know that's a virtual high five.
Yeah,
I did.
it's the most aggressive high five I've ever heard.
I also gave blood today.
Oh, so you're gonna definitely
Nice.
pass out with all the scotch you're gonna drink in the next
Yes,
2 hours.
absolutely.
Oh.
Oh, I
Hell
gotta.
yeah.
They told me to drink liquids.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hmm.
You're just
Pretty
trying
sure
to listen to
scotch is a
doctor's
liquid.
orders, bro.
Exactly.
There you go.
This
Exactly.
is too high.
Mostly
Pete,
water.
how are you?
This is too high.
Pretty good.
You can't
I'm
even see.
drinking some margarita. Well, it was a macarita, courtesy of Pete Valdion, actually, who dropped off a bunch of stuff while Steph was pregnant.
Evil Pete. Shout out to Evil Pete.
Shout out to
Hey,
you, Pete.
Pete.
There was one left. It's no longer non-alcoholic. Because thanks to John, I have this giant Patron. Not a sponsor, but you could be.
Hey.
And this beautiful Bill's glass. So thank you. Yeah.
Speaking of the Valdiones, Megan, his wife, and she knows someone that works at the Rhode Island Blood Center, where I give. And every time I do a post, she always says, "Hey, have I ever told you that I know someone that works?" It's become an inside joke with us. Today was the first time that I actually remembered to ask for that person that she knows. So I'm very proud of myself. Unfortunately, Megan, if you're listening, I wasn't able to see her because I guess she's not on the same floor that
Megan,
you
why aren't
donate
you
the blood.
listening?
I'm sure she's listening.
Megan, you should be on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Hey, right?
But anyway, I think now it's time for our guest to take over the show in our segment, Ball in the Corner Pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about comic book movies. Take it away, Lil.
Comic book movies.
What?
All right.
Vast array.
We don't like
So-
talking about comic books on the show at all.
I know.
never talk
I
about
know.
comics.
This is not going to take an hour.
Definitely not.
Hashtag show
All
going until
right.
midnight.
No. I have work tomorrow.
All right. So I think we can all agree that the MCU movies have been lackluster since the Avengers Endgame, with recent flops like The Eternals and Madam Web, and then, of course, the
Ugh.
debacle
Stinky.
around Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror.
Mm-hmm.
So, with only one Marvel movie coming out this year in the form of Deadpool and Wolverine, is the MCU universe still bright? What are we thinking?
So, and we were just talking about this in the pre-show, and it's all I want to ever talk about Marvel. I looked it up. X-Men 97 is currently 99 on Rotten Tomatoes.
99.
Who gave it
90
1%?
Wow.
99.
Who is that 1%?
It's currently a 98 on
There's no negative
98
here.
on fan
I know.
on critic reviews, 99 on fan reviews, and I wrote this question about
What is
X-Men
Reddit
97,
saying?
and, I mean, everybody likes it, and really,
Yeah, I
Everyone
know.
likes it.
the thing is, it's the first time in a really long time that they're doing character development again, and they're taking chances again. I mean, they're killing main characters, and they're doing love triangles, and they're really just like doing
So many
a
love
lot
triangles.
of work. And in my question, I said that this, I believe, is Kevin Feige's break glass in case of emergency property.
Yep.
Where they were like, oh, don't use it yet. You don't want to use that grenade too soon because it'll miss or it won't get enough. So we're going to do 2 quick shots of Wolverine to really get everybody revved up, make Daddy Iger happy, because Bob Iger was pissed when he came back. They spent way too much money. They didn't get any money back. And really, Phase 4 and Phase 5 were pretty lackluster.
Yeah. We were talking in the pre-show, which we're going to have to make that a thing. But
Record it, baby.
yeah, but no,
Go on the
Lillian,
Patreon.
you brought up some good points about
Mark, can
Thor,
we have a
Love and
Patreon?
Thunder, which I love Thor, the franchise. And
People have been
Steph,
asking like for months now.
Steph actually just mentioned Chris Hemsworth is her favorite, like, I guess,
Chris
Marvel actor
Hemsworth.
portraying a character. Not necessarily her favorite Marvel character, but her favorite, like, actor playing a character in Marvel. So we were going into Love and Thunder.
Is it because
all
he literally
excited.
looks like a god?
Yes, he looks
That helps.
exactly. Yeah.
Do you know what's really funny about Chris Hemsworth?
But
His
He
act
was
is great. I think he's a
disappointing,
great
though.
actor.
he was very not invested after Infinity War because he was feeling that like superhero fatigue that all the actors, all the main OG ones were feeling. And then they're like, okay, Chris, what we're gonna do is we're gonna give Thor depression and you're gonna get really fat. And he's like, all right,
Yeah, sounds
I'm in.
fun.
it sounds fun. It sounds real because like, right, you're an all-powerful demigod and you never, ever, ever, ever lose. And then you lost. And
you
because you
lost.
lost, half the universe died. Like half.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck.
One would think that would run roughshod in your psyche.
Like the power of the first 10 minutes of Endgame where they look at him after he's killed Thanos and they go, I went for the head. Like, that's so, oh, shit, so good. And that's the thing they forgot in Phase 4 and Phase 5. They didn't build characters, and they didn't deliver on storylines. I saw a fact that they, of all, like, it was a meme of all the hanging threads they left in the after credits, like Hercules and the what's-her-face, the Doctor Strange's wife, who I forget her name. Just like a lot of things that they just didn't deliver on. It's almost like when they gave Pepper Potts superpowers and then they didn't mention it at all for the next 5 years.
Never mind that.
I mean, like, Christ. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm really excited actually because X-Men 97 was so good, and Deadpool and Wolverine is delivering to be so good. I mean,
I'm excited
really
for
A
that.
great
lot of hype
actor-
with that movie, right? There's so
really
much
great
hype going on
actors.
with that.
And
I mean, Ryan Reynolds
really-
and Hugh Jackman together finally as superheroes that
I mean,
hate each other
it
and
sh- it
love each
should-
other.
Yeah, it should be
After
a
all
good
of the
formula,
jokes.
right? Yeah.
Yes, right. The internet has built us up for this for years.
And you know who did the work, the character delivery on that? Ryan Reynolds did
Ryan
the work,
Reynolds.
because he has been making fun of Hugh Jackman publicly for 10 fucking
Oh,
years.
but Hugh's been dishing it back though. I think every bit as much.
It's going to be glorious. Cassandra Nova, if you guys don't know who Cassandra Nova is Professor X's sister. She's the big bad. And they have this great actor playing them. Because the actor is non-binary, so I don't know what the character's going by.
Side note, why are all of Xavier's relatives batshit crazy and super evil?
Well, in theory, all of them have to be as powerful as Professor X, right?
Some are
theory.
more powerful.
Yeah.
Cassandra Nova is no fucking joke.
Nope.
No joke. No joke. She is batshit crazy and probably a stronger telepath than he is.
It's like-
so,
He was the one that came out with his brain and kind of okay.
Well, it's like you can't kill Deadpool or Wolverine. So how do you make it have? How do you make the story have meaning, right? If you can't kill a character. I don't know. I'm excited, and we're out of time.
Well, I want to talk a little bit more about some of the upcoming movies. I mean, we have like the Fantastic Four coming out. There's
do we?
Wait.
no, it's it's
is
slated
happening?
for next year. It's
Okay.
slated for next year.
Is,
we have
John
and
Krasinski in there?
there's two new Avengers movies coming. John Krasinski is not.
He's not playing Mr.
Richards, no.
Fantastic. Okay.
No. There's a couple more Avengers films coming out, I believe, in 2027 and 28.
Is this like the Secret Wars stuff that I keep hearing about?
I believe one of them is Secret Wars.
Okay, so I believe, as a super nerd, and I really have a Marvel problem. I really do. I believe that Deadpool and Wolverine is going to prep us for Secret Wars. And I think its whole purpose is to prep us for Secret Wars. Because there's this thing called Battle World where like all the superheroes eventually go and they fight. And that's going to be like the TVA wasteland that we've been seeing in the Loki shows, which Deadpool goes to. And a lot of this movie, I believe, is going to happen at. And that's why we're going to get a lot of like, I heard so many crazy things. I heard that Henry Cavill is going to be a version of Wolverine. I mean, I heard they're going to do so much bonkers shit. So I'm very excited. Ray Park is in the movie as Toad. He's credited on IMDb.
Huh, really?
Yeah, so Ray Park, back from 20 years ago, is going to apparently be a acrobat again. But he's Ray Park, so I don't think Ray Park ages.
No.
They're going to have the same guy play Pyro. Pyro's in it. Shatterstar's in it. So maybe the Mojoverse? Like...
Actually, I would love to see a movie in the Mojoverse. That'd be trippy as hell.
Yeah, well, Shatterstar is Dazzler and Longshot's son, so maybe Taylor will show up in this fucking movie. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
I did not know that character. I knew Dazzler and Longshot, but because those are both
Dazzler
kind of Mojo. Well, Dazzler was a longtime X-Men.
And she goes to the Mojoverse, falls in love with Longshot.
Yeah.
And she's the only mutant pop star.
There's a rumor that they were going to try to get Taylor Swift to play Dazzler.
That's what I'm saying. So Taylor...
How cool would that be?
On IMDb, and if they were casting Taylor in Deadpool and Wolverine, they wouldn't put it on IMDb because they don't want to spoil it.
Oh, no.
But they have Shatterstar on IMDb right now, and so...
How much would they have to pay her, honestly?
$1 billion. $1 billion.
I mean, she already has $1 billion, doesn't she?
However...
That's true.
Let's put a point on that. Recent Taylor Swift agreed to be in the Cats movie.
Oh, okay, touche. That is a
it wasn't that recent.
It was a pretty bad choice. That movie fucking sucked.
It was a pretty bad choice, so maybe she's looking for...
And Judi Dench was also in that movie, okay?
There were a lot of good actors in that movie, and the movie sucked.
But at least they can now say when they give her a movie role, she's like, oh, I don't know. They're like, hey, it's going to be better than Cats.
It's going to be better than Cats.
All right, we need to move.
Low bar.
We need to move on.
Yes.
We are marveling all over this ball in the corner pocket.
Ew.
Ew.
Is that what this title, Marvelous Balls?
No, I was thinking, by the way, groovy mutant balls or groovy mutated balls, either or.
I like the mutated balls.
That's what I was thinking.
Anyway, go ahead, Lil.
Go ahead with me. What am I doing?
You have 2 more questions to read, my friend.
I have 2 more questions?
Yeah,
all
it's in the thing.
We're going way too long.
Yeah, funny enough, you read number 2 first.
I like to read number 2. Or I do whatever I want to do.
That's true. I do what I want.
All right.
Catch me outside.
So we already... Well, all right. So we already kind of touched on X-Men 97. Huge hit, obviously. I haven't finished the series. I'm only halfway through.
What the fuck?
I know. But let's talk about it. So, like I said, we can do a few spoiler alerts for people, myself included.
To be honest, I don't want to. I mean, the listeners know that we spoil everything, but I don't want to spoil it for you.
Not if you're on the show and we're talking about it directly. Yeah, it's worth waiting to watch it.
Okay.
Lillian informed us in the green room that she has watched through the Genosha episode. And,
that's the midway point. Through episode 5.
That is the midway point, and probably, honestly, the high point of the show, thematically and dramatically.
I think it's the best episode.
Oh, 100%.
But then the finale is like right up there.
Doubt.
Yeah, the finale is up there too, though.
Except for them saying Phoenix Force. And you're like,
oh, that was dumb. Yeah,
all right.
They could have just.
I guess
they could have just taken that out and figured out a way. Like maybe Jean got to Cable somehow. And sorry. Okay.
The
Anyway,
Phoenix
sorry.
Force.
Spoilers.
I guess
That part was
whatever.
You're not missing.
So what the first half of the series that you have seen, what have you liked so far? And tell us your thoughts about the series.
I mean, all of the same things that are great about the original series. Like they take on huge maybe not so directly in this particular one, but it's not hard, especially as adult watchers, which I think is what is written for. Unlike I think the nostalgic series of our childhood was more written for like children trying to make sense of the world around them a little bit. I think this is clearly written for people of our age.
Yeah.
Nostalgia all over the 97s, right?
Mhm.
And then so a little bit more like read between the lines than the OG, but it's still taking on very large political and personal issues for everybody, with like the villains are basically a hate group who just hates people because of the way they are and the way they're born, and like you can paint that however with whatever hate group you want to choose to do. And then people dealing with love issues and romantic pasts and loss of power and dealing with your identity and all sorts of it's fantastic.
Marrying a clone.
Marrying a clone.
Can we sit on that for a second? Right? How is everyone in that, okay? So Madeline, Jean, Scott. Like, Jean loves Scott. Scott loves Jean, but really Scott loves Madeline.
Yeah.
And like, and why shouldn't he love Madeline, right?
Yeah, and you don't know when they got switched.
We have no idea. You have no insight into when they got switched.
That's still the biggest. I don't know if we answer that question later, but that was.
I
still
don't
the
think
biggest,
it gets answered at all.
How long has Jean been Madeline, and Madeline like? How long has this happened?
It was at least however old Nathan was plus 9 months, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. That was all Madeline. So. See,
that'd be a hell of a switcheroo, though.
So all the stuff that you just talked about, right? All these themes and issues that are parallel to many social issues in reality. This has been going on in X-Men comics for decades. This is what X-Men is. A lot of people equated, especially the early runs of the comics in the 60s and 70s, with like the whole, mutants are a different thing, that are like, you have to kind of come out as a mutant, and everybody's fears it and doesn't understand it and tries to persecute it. That it was a big parallel to homosexuality and how dangerous it was to even like let on.
I mean, in X-Men 97, Sunspot comes out to his parents. He says, "I'm a mutant, Mom," and Mom's like, "I've always known, but you can't tell anyone." Right.
It's right. Super, like, that's been the heart and soul of the comic, and it's all about outcasts and being something different, and unfortunately getting shit for it, but still trying to take the high road and prove to people like, hey, I can coexist with you. Like, just let's work together. So
the season 1 and season 2 showrunner,
Bo
DeMeo, he was a big showrunner in the original series, and he actually said the remembered episode 5 is one Lillian is on. He wrote a lot of that in reference to all the horrible things that happened in like the non-traditional, like the homosexual clubs and all the murders that happened there recently. And he was like, I wrote it on purpose. Those were my clubs. Those were my people, right? And I'm concerned about the show because I don't know why he got fired, and I don't think we'll ever really know why he got fired. He did not write season 2, but he was a major contributor to season 2, so I think season 2 is fine. But if it continues past season 2, I don't know if it's going to get a Weiss and Benioff treatment, right? It's going to turn bad. I hope not.
I should say LGBTQ now, but back then it was...
Well, yeah,
right. Just to modernize.
Right?
What we were saying.
There's a lot of.
It covers a lot more things now, obviously.
Since 1997, it has become easier to be different. However, being different is still challenging, and I think that X-Men's core is to address being different, and I think that's why Stanley wrote it. Right? Stanley wrote it back in the 60s and 70s.
Oh yeah, he wrote it so long ago.
63 was the first episode.
Right, back when, and a lot of those early comic books were about normalizing being different, right? And
or trying to, at least, yeah.
The idea that everybody loves them about is giving strength to people who are different.
Yep. And I love
and
that.
it's an inherently like diverse team too, right?
Right.
Like the way
Yeah.
they look, the way they act, the way like you got your snarky asshole, you got your lovable like hero, you've got your aw shucks, like it's the whole.
I love that
spectrum
Jubilee's
of
oddly
people.
Asian.
Right. All the personalities there.
I mean, just right.
Oddly. Well,
No, but like you don't really know what she is what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
it was a little bit the original.
Ambiguity.
It's funny because the original X-Men, it was a little bit whitewashed to start, but then in Giant X-Men, I guess, when it kind of
Actually,
rebooted
you know what?
the series in the
That's a really
70s.
interesting point. X-Men 97, no sign of Angel.
No,
The
he was an
whitest
original.
X-Men.
That's right.
Right, the OG, the
Yep.
whitest X-Men.
Well, same
no
with
sign of him.
Iceman too.
No sign of Bobby Drake.
Those two are missing.
Not there. We don't need him.
We might see him. We might see him in season 2. But yeah, Giant
Bobby
X-Men.
Drake's an Omega, by the way.
They made a point. They're like, hold my beer. We're going to show you how diverse we are. And the first issue of that is literally Xavier flying to every corner of the globe to assemble a new X-Men team. So that's how they got Colossus from Russia. They got Storm from Africa. I forget what nation she was from there. They got a Native American guy. I forget. No, not Forge. Forge came later.
Oh, the guy who can track.
Yeah.
Thunderhawk.
There's two of them that are like twin brothers that are the same thing in the Marvel universe, and I forget what their names. Yeah, Nightcrawler, who is, talk about outcasts. Like everybody thought he was a demon, and he's like a priest in a
Who's
church.
the best
Like,
character
it's
in
pretty
X-Men
cool.
97, by the way? Fucking Nightcrawler.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's like oddly religious, and he's just like speaks like. So the next episode, obviously Gambit's dead, right? So he speaks at Gambit's eulogy, and he's just so eloquent. It's just awesome.
Well, because
awesome.
Yeah, he's literally like, I don't know if he was a full on priest, but he was at least like some kind of like member of the church. Like doing sermons and stuff. So he knows all that stuff. But he's also a badass like swordsman and teleporter and does all this crazy shit.
Right.
So
they make him so cool in X-Men 97. They're like literally just like all the stuff that they wanted to do in X-Men 2 when they were like, oh, he's trying to kill the president.
Yep.
Yay.
Well, we can go on about this forever.
I was gonna say, do we have enough time for the third?
We might not.
We do not, but that's fine. Last question.
Well, this last one was kind of a throwaway. I mean,
what was it really quickly?
No, really quickly. Let's just do it.
Okay.
It's 10 o'clock
All
already.
right. Let's just
go,
do it.
baby.
All right. Kevin, I'm not going to say his last name correctly.
Feige.
Kevin
Feige.
Feige. He's undergone some scrutiny, and then X-Men 97 definitely like saved his job, right? But James Gunn wants to overtake him and achieve comic book immortality. So we've seen some good things with Peacemaker and Blue Beetle, and we've seen some bad things like Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and The Flash. With a new Superman being revealed and currently in production, what are your thoughts if DC could overtake Marvel with James Gunn?
So the only thing that James Gunn has made up to this point is Peacemaker and the second Suicide Squad movie. All the rest of that shit.
Oh, he wasn't involved with Blue Beetle?
I thought he was.
All the rest of that shit was finish. He was like trying to finish the what's it face, the Frank Miller universe. Like all that stuff that what's the other guy? All that stuff that they had in the beaker. What's really interesting is that the Superman movie, this coming up Superman movie that he's spending $1 jillion on.
It better be good.
That is the official number.
I feel like it's going to be good, actually.
The first brand new James Gunn project. And you have to say, Peacemaker is a fucking ball. That is the funnest show. He's just like, he made Suicide Squad 2. This is actually how the story goes. He made Suicide Squad 2, and he calls John Cena after Suicide Squad 2. And John Cena dies in Suicide Squad 2, by the way. Dies.
Spoiler alert.
Damn.
And he calls John Cena, and he's like,
Too late.
hey, we're getting a lot of, like, good press. Would you do a show? And John Cena's like, fuck yeah, I'll do a show. John Cena will do anything. And,
well, he did walk around in the Teddy Wuddies in that show.
James Gunn's like, I got you. And he calls him in a week. This is the story he tells on Fallon, John Cena, many months later. He calls him on Fallon, or he says on Fallon, he calls him, and he's like, all right, show's done. We're going to make it. And just makes it. Just makes a show about Peacemaker.
Awesome.
The most random back page B-list DC superhero. And it's great. It's great. Eagly is awesome. Another intro that you always have to watch is the Peacemaker intro. Straight up, watch it on YouTube if you haven't watched it yet.
Oh yeah, you did show that to me. That's pretty cool.
It's amazing. It's a dancing CG eagle.
Like, I think everybody who knows me should know by now that I don't care for DC. It is not my favorite, and Superman. Superman is my least favorite of the DCs. Like, he is. But I am actually excited for this movie, largely because of Nathan Fillion. I'm gonna be honest.
Yes.
But I feel
Is he
like
the bad guy?
oh,
okay.
he's the Green Lantern.
Ooh, interesting.
Perfect.
You saw him in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 too, right?
Oh, I forgot.
I have a real serious question though. New Clark Kent, David Corwin said, is he handsome? Is he handsome enough?
I mean, yeah. I mean, makeup can make a lot of people handsome or pretty.
You know what I mean? He is like a very like classical like jawline, like Clark Kent face. Yeah. Like, he's a handsome man, I think, but I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
Well, if you find him handsome, John, then he's handsome.
Exactly. No, I mean, I think he'll probably like. I think it'll be good. I think he'll be fine. And like I said, what I've seen of James Gunn's like DC universe, which a little on the nose coming from Marvel, but okay. I think that's going to be good. But in terms of like DC overtaking Marvel, and like, I just don't think it's going to happen because well,
it depends what happens with these next set of movies, right?
It's true.
But the DC's not all in on James Gunn either, because they're still doing like what's that Joaquin Phoenix Joker, which is not done by James Gunn and is like in its own separate like branch.
It's too fragmented right now. Yeah.
Side note, straight up, I don't know if you've watched them. Even though it's a Joker movie, it's not a superhero movie. That's a movie about mental health.
It's an anti-hero movie.
Oh, yes.
It's not a hero movie at all. It's a movie about mental health, and it's a movie about violence.
I worked in that one too back in my last.
It's literally not about superheroes at all.
No,
the fact that Lady Gaga, who is like a admitted character actress who like couldn't get out of A Star Is Born and couldn't get out of the Gucci movie, which I forget the name of, like couldn't get out of those characters. I am actually concerned for her playing Harley Quinn, like actually concerned.
Yeah,
you should be. And then they've also got James Patterson still playing Batman, but even though James Gunn also has some Batman and Robin stuff in his universe, but they're not using the same, like, if they went all in on a single idea, they have a fighting chance, but they're not.
Yeah, and I mean that's what Marvel decided to do way back.
Maisel,
I guess the Incredible Hulk and especially Iron Man. They're like, hey, let's make a whole franchise out of this. Right? They had a master plan.
Rachel Brosnahan got Lois Lane.
Exactly.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is.
That's actually really awesome.
I could see her as a good Lois Lane.
I'm excited. Yeah. I'm excited for it, but it is like.
I don't know if I like her as Lois Lane.
And then
I love Rachel Brosnahan. I love Rachel
Nicholas
Brosnahan.
Hoult. Do you guys know Nicholas Hoult? Nicholas Hoult is Lex Luthor. He looks like a creepy asshole.
Yes, I think he'll be an excellent.
He's too tall.
Nicholas Hoult. Yeah, Nicholas Hoult's kind of tall.
Is he going to shave his head?
I mean, he's got pretty short hair already.
You know, one of these times I want to do a comparison of actors that have been in both DC and Marvel movies. Nicholas Hoult is one of them.
Doofy Skylar Gisondo is
Ryan
Jimmy
Reynolds.
Olsen, which I think is pretty funny.
Ryan Reynolds.
You know, back in the day,
Nathan Fillion.
About shaving not his head but his mustache.
Now Nathan Fillion, yeah.
To go back to Lex Luthor, Gene Hackman had a mustache coming off of another role.
Gene Hackman.
And, back in the original Superman movie.
And you know, Gene Hackman, I don't believe Gene Hackman shaved his head for Lex Luthor.
He did not. And but he did shave his mustache, but not willingly. Richard Donner, the director, tricked him into doing it.
Someone trick another human into shaving their face.
So Richard Donner basically convinced him to do it because he's like, look, I've had a mustache my whole life, and if you shave it off, I'll shave mine too. We'll do it together. And they finally get on set ready to go to film Superman in 1978, and sure enough, Gene Hackman's like, all right, you better hold up your end of the bargain. He shaves his off, and Richard Donner peels off his fake mustache. It's brilliant. And laughs at him.
Oh my gosh.
All right, we are so done.
Sorry,
I just had
to get that one in there.
So done. We'd like to thank one of our with this week's fake sponsors, Trailblazer GPS watches. Never lose your way with Trailblazer GPS watches.
That's definitely a real thing, Mark.
As long as it's better than all trails.
Designed for explorers and athletes who venture off the beaten path. Trailblazer. Explore without limits.
I needed a theme song or something.
All right, everyone, are we ready to kick off the shindig?
Let's do it.
We're gonna try to do a Law and Order next topic. What? Chung chung. Next topic.
Yes.
You mean first topic?
Chung chung. First topic.
The following topic
we should actually find that. Oh yeah, go ahead, Pete.
Is actually factual.
So the NBA Finals are kicking off as we record this very podcast. In fact, the Celtics are up 175 right now. Yet it has been a whole week since there's been any NBA basketball. Now, if you haven't been paying attention, the Boston Celtics swept the Indiana Pacers, albeit on the verge of losing most of those games. And a similar result happened in the West as the Dallas Mavericks defeated the Minnesota Timberwolves in 5 games. Now, with no NBA basketball, but coincidentally, I'm sorry. Let me start that over. And then no NBA basketball, which coincidentally has been great for the WNBA for those craving competitive basketball. So everyone, why do we think the NBA has set dates for the finals regardless of the outcomes of this conference finals? Is it TV contracts?
Deals? Yeah,
but
maybe they
why?
had to lock that in
Next
early.
topic.
No, really, like
because TV deals.
Why?
I mean,
why is it? Is TV deal set? All right, we're gonna start.
Because it's always been like that.
But what happens?
But why?
Do they leave enough space though in case like both series leading up to go to Game 7?
I don't know about this, Mark.
Yeah, I think so. That's why
to run a TV network, you need to have programming, and programming needs to be scheduled, right?
But that kind of sucks though. If they
NHL does the same thing too.
Right. The NHL did the same exact thing.
Okay.
The Stanley Cup Finals start tomorrow, and they've been off for almost a whole week.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, for hockey though, I feel like they could use it.
So why
is
it like that? Because there's nothing on TV in June because all of the season finales are over, and so they have to play something. Is that why you think it is, John?
I feel like both basketball and hockey go way too long.
I mean, I don't know, dude. I don't find myself. I mean, and I know this sucks for conversation. I don't find myself caring when playoff sports are on. Like they're on when they're on.
You would care if the Knicks were in it?
No, I don't think I would.
I don't know.
Every
show had a topic on the Knicks until they were out of the playoffs.
Exactly. You were all Jalen Brunson, and now they're out. And they're like, I don't care.
Oh, we're done with we're done with that team now.
I mean, that's how it is to be a New York sports
now,
fan.
Keep in mind,
right?
Keep in mind, the Knicks probably would have loved having a week off between series,
Knicks
right?
needed a week off, and honestly, so did the fucking Pacers. You saw them crumble. The Pacers were like, "That was hard. I'm tired. Fuck." I think arena sports are really hard, right? And we've talked about this time and time again. Like basketball, like 5-7 game series is hockey, like 5-7 game series is, and especially when the teams are really tightly matched. So let's just talk about the Knicks because I know about that. The Knicks played the Sixers tight, and then they played the Pacers tight. 6 and 7, tiring, physical, grueling games. Whoever was coming out of that series, and you can see by the result of the Eastern Conference Finals, wasn't gonna win. They weren't gonna win. And so here we are, and they didn't. And what sucks for the Celtics, probably the best the Celtics have been in a while. They haven't played anybody.
Just a few years ago, or no? Has it been a while?
It's been 2008 since the last.
Okay, all right. That's longer than I thought.
16
so
years.
What that does is it gives
still
Porzingis
shorter
a
than
chance.
the Knicks.
It gives Porzingis a chance to come back. So that's cool for you guys.
He got healthy. And he's been a pretty dominant force actually this game. He's been protecting the rim.
I mean, I know athletes are sort of mixed signals on this because some of them don't want the break, some of them want to keep the momentum going and go straight into the next game and the next win, but others, as John and Pete pointed out, they need the rest, they need the break, and so if it's split on that side and I'm an executive or a coach or whatever and I'm planning these things, I'm like, you know what, it makes our lives a lot easier if we plan them in advance and we know exactly when they're gonna happen.
I mean, my favorite.
I don't get it from a marketing perspective because
my favorite podcast,
you lose a lot of momentum.
already scooped that. Yeah, well, I mean that's That's what I was going for.
Just because of the gap? Because if
in baseball, when their gap happens, and we can see in the last 2 baseball playoffs that 6 teams that won 100 games that had a week off lost. Like
they all lost.
The teams, they all lost.
I think out of all the sports, the one that needs the most momentum is baseball because you're used to playing every day.
Well, and it's like a little bit more of a timing sport.
Yeah.
Right? You take a break and it gets harder to guess. Harder to guess on pitches, harder to guess on like everything. I don't necessarily know if it matters in basketball and hockey, and I think that the break is important in basketball and hockey. But also,
I guess if it's consistent,
who cares? But... I mean, like, who cares?
Again,
I don't care.
You would care if the Knicks are in it.
I don't think I would, because the Knicks need a fucking break. The Knicks needed a break.
Well, they're getting a 6-month break.
Well, okay, then you'd be on the side of let's keep this a fixed thing far enough out. What happens if both?
I don't think John cares either way.
No, he doesn't.
No, I mean, I just don't give a shit at all.
I missed basketball. I went without Celtics basketball for over a week. And I was like, well, what else is on right now? And we were watching, this is seriously what was on at the bar today. We were watching like some kind of competitive like speedboat race or something like that because there was nothing on.
There's a lot of Olympic track meets.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of Olympic stuff on. Yeah.
Or pre-Olympic stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Don't worry, guys. The Knicks are gonna get McCall Bridges next year,
I agree.
and you guys are all in a lot of fucking trouble.
Are they still gonna have Tom Thibodeau?
Oh yeah, and the whole Villanova starting roster from 2017 to 2018. It's gonna be great.
Tibbs is just gonna run them in the ground again.
Well, you know, I actually really like. I mean, I don't necessarily know about recreating that whole team, but I like Bridges a lot. He's playing great on the Nets. The Nets are in a weird spot. They need to trade people. I mean, I would love to get Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the topic, I think that Pete has a good question about whether if both teams swept, if I feel the same way, and I might change my mind in that particular instance.
Yeah, then you get a long wait.
Yeah, but at least in the last few years going into the finals of every sport that I've cared about, that has not been the case. It's been like what John was saying, where it's like hard fought.
Well, usually, yeah.
Down
the conference finals are usually closer than what they were this year.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, given that,
well, and let's just go back to and we're done. But let's just go back to the scheduling question for a second. Who would have thought that the Eastern Conference Finals would be done in a week?
That's true.
I mean, right? They take a break traveling, so they only.
But they don't do that any other round. They don't do that any other round. It's like,
they had one chance to travel back and forth, so they're literally skipping 6 days of basketball and not getting to Game 7. Like, that's the week. There's your week, Mark. They have to schedule based on going to 7. Because the idea that they're going to 7 is more realistic than the idea of them going to 4. And we need to be done.
Yep.
It's going to be a long show.
Hey, mama. I mean, it's not going to be a long show. It's just started late. It's going to be a late
I got a musical next topic. Ready?
Okay, yes.
Love it. I'm excited.
Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. It's the next topic.
Yeah.
Nice.
You can only do so much, Lillian.
I thought you were going to say a room without a next topic.
Well, we're gonna go right into it. Lillian, being a Cincinnati, Ohio native, the coolest man in Ohio, Joe Burrow, had a scheduled day off Tuesday during the team's voluntary organized activities. He participated in Monday's OTAs this past week and was scheduled to participate Wednesday. Now, Coach Zach Taylor downplayed Burrow's absence, as well as the absences of star wide receivers Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Higgins has yet to sign the franchise tag the Bengals placed on him in February, and Chase has yet to participate in any of the team's offseason program. So, what's going on in Cincinnati? Do you think they're still a competitor in a very, very tough AFC North? And Lillian, what do you need to see as a Bengals fan before the season starts?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're still a competitor. I think Burrow and Chase together are always going to be, a fan draw. They're always going to be good.
Yep.
I don't think wide receivers is ever going to be like an issue in Cincinnati. I feel like we're pretty good at drafting them, and Joe Burrow being the quarterback he is, I think he can turn mediocre wide receivers into good wide receivers. I don't anticipate seeing T. Higgins come back. Sadly,
Nope.
I mean, I like T. Higgins, but especially with like the signing that Justin Jefferson just got,
a jillion dollars.
basically $1 billion. I don't see how they're gonna manage to keep Chase and
They
Higgins.
can't. It's
At least,
impossible.
like,
It's
Yeah.
impossible.
so,
But-
Yeah,
Well,
and
and
Trey
they made
Henderson
their
wants to get
choice.
traded too.
And they made their choice, right?
Higgins is not. Higgins is good. He's a great
Yes.
WR2, but he's not a Justin
He's
Jefferson.
a one. You know, he can be a one on a
You think so?
decent team.
I
on
agree with
another
Mark.
team,
I think on
I
another
thought-
team he could be a top pick, but compared to Chase, he's never going to be our number
No,
one.
I
he's-
thought
no.
that his rookie
He's a 1A
year,
on Cincinnati.
right? Because I was like, oh, he's pretty good his rookie year. Like, wait for this meteoric rise. He's going to be their number one receiver. And then I was like, oh, Jamar Chase is better.
Better.
But Higgins
And
is still
T.
really,
Higgins is-
and this is
is
not
great.
to right.
Great.
This is not to take away from Higgins. I would love Higgins in a Bills uniform. Please, he would be the Bills' number one receiver.
And we need to discuss, you need to say it. I mean, and T. Higgins never stood a chance because Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow have 4 years of chemistry before
yeah.
they even got to
Yep.
the Bengals.
Exactly.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right? They won a national championship
Well,
in
not
LSU
4 years,
together.
but they won.
They had,
two at
They
LSU.
they had some
They
good
won a
days at
national
LSU.
championship at LSU together.
Mhm.
I mean, so I don't know two things. I don't know what giving Joe Burrow all that money did to the mental states of Higgins and Chase, who believe that they deserve the money. And then after giving Joe, who I believe deserved all that money, having him be hurt and having a season where you were kind of bad,
Yeah.
right?
He had to run for his life.
You kind of were bad, and so they had to. I mean, we've all played sports, right? It's not fun to lose.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not fun to
sucks
lose.
to
I'm
lose.
still just surprised though. Like I thought they fixed all that stuff, and then it became a problem again last year.
Well, yeah, they beefed up the O line, and then they kind of like, okay,
Fell
we
apart.
don't need everyone. Yeah, because I think a
And
couple of O linemen left.
Oh, me. Okay.
And taking a page from Pete's book, I bring up the strength of the AFC North because every single team in the AFC North is a playoff contender.
I'm more worried about Cincinnati's defense personally, especially if Trey Henderson
I'm
does not
worried
want to
about
be
them
there.
playing the Ravens twice and playing the Browns twice. I mean, that's
Worried about them playing the Browns twice.
The Browns made the playoffs last year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
so-
Browns
Browns
are no joke.
Browns suck, but
They
yeah,
had Joe
they're-
Burrow.
I mean, of
Or
course.
they had Joe
You have
Flacco.
to take them
Yeah,
seriously.
legend of Joe Flacco, motherfucker.
So Rich.
He's not on the Browns anymore.
No,
I know.
Rich Eisen. We were talking about this a little bit before
He's
the show
gonna
too.
he's
He-
gonna take over for Anthony Richardson when he gets hurt.
He did a top 10 Power
probably
League
will.
teams in the NFL. Not only are the Bills not in it, which that's a whole other thing. The Bengals were not in it. The Browns were in it though. I think they were numbers 7 or
11
8.
and 6. The Browns have the best defense in football.
For the
Yeah.
last
Best
17
defense in
years,
football.
They're good.
for the
yeah.
last 17 years, there have always been at least 4 new playoff teams
right.
in the league.
But is
That's
Deshaun
happened
Watson
the last
going
17
to
years.
be
Fuck no.
No. Like
Whatever your question is, the answer is no.
right. And that's what it ultimately comes down to. They're going to get their great regular season, and then when it comes to, oh shoot, you need an amazing quarterback.
Yeah,
Oh wait, we don't
to
have
me,
one of those.
I hate like all these quarterbacks getting $50+ million. I mean, you have Deshaun Watson. You had, I mean, Russell Wilson got a big contract. Look how well that
Yeah,
happened or
that did
worked out.
not
Kyler
work out.
Murray got a big contract. Look how that worked out. There's only, I think, one quarterback right now that's really worth $50 million, and he just won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If you are not him, then you don't deserve that much money, and you're just taking money away from other players, which is
He
why
doesn't even want that. He doesn't even want that much money.
no, he's
But his agent
he's doing a
does.
lot like
Page out of
Tom
Brady.
Brady. Like, exactly. Well, exactly. Brady was
I'll take
never
less.
the highest paid. Exactly.
I'll take less. That's fine. It's all good. Let's pivot off of this in the last 20 seconds. Who do you think will be the most successful rookie class quarterback?
Ooh. I'm rooting for Caleb
I mean, Caleb, yeah.
because
Caleb
there's like
seems
no way.
great.
There's like no way he can't fail.
well, also Roma Dunze seems awesome, and I want to see them do good things
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, you got a
That
running
was
back.
cool
You've
how
got
they,
two good wide receivers.
Yeah.
The O line should be pretty decent. Like, if the Bears don't do well, then Uberflus or Eberflus, whatever his name is, should get fired after 6 games.
Yes.
Who do you think is going to do the worst and does stacked. Who do you think is going to do the worst and does his name rhyme with JJ McCarthy?
I don't think JJ McCarthy is going to do the worst. No. He's got Justin Jefferson.
How about Michael Penix Jr.?
There you go. Play. Yeah. He just won't play. It doesn't count.
That's pretty bad. You wasted your 8th overall pick on a guy who's play.
That did not finish. You don't think Kirk's going to be healthy? That's your call. I like that call. By the way,
I don't think Kirk is healthy to play week 1. I really don't.
No, that'll be fascinating to see.
We're done.
Okay.
We're done with the topic.
Oh. Yeah. Well, okay. I'd come up with a rap song for Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, but it doesn't really have anything to do with the next topic, though.
Just fucking say next topic at the end. I don't even care.
Okay, fine. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Ukko-Pekka, and there's an Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Next topic.
Fuck yeah. Record that.
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
Drop it like it's fucking hot. Peter Joseph. Jesus Christ.
All right. So it happened again. San Diego Padres infielder Tucupita Marcano has been permanently banned from Major League Baseball after getting caught gambling on baseball, a la Pete Rose. And we did not plan when Lillian Rice that uniform. Now, 4 other players.
The Pete Rose jersey.
Yeah, I know. 4 other players received 1-year suspensions after an unnamed legal sports betting operator sent data to Major League Baseball involving all these players, which could be another topic to discuss. Marcano has been in a situation similar to Calvin Ridley a couple years back, as he hasn't been playing after tearing his ACL last July. Now, the permanent ban is solely because he bet specifically on baseball games, and of which on his team, even though he didn't play, and he made nearly 400 bets involving more than $150,000. So, everyone, does baseball need to do more about sports betting after the Ohtani and Marcano scandals?
I just want them to be consistent. That's all that I want. So, okay, 2 things. First of all, you can't come down so hard on sports betting while also like every other commercial that I watch while I'm watching
is about sports betting.
Yeah.
So that's my first issue. Second issue is I feel like if there were, at least to me as a fan, more clear rules around this that were like more transparent or something, I could maybe get behind it. But I feel like
there is a clear rule. They're not supposed to do it.
But it's not clear, right? Because, okay, so like if I'm a professional professional athlete, and I have a joint account with my partner, with my spouse, are they allowed to bet?
Nope. Well, I guess your partner is, but why do you have a joint account?
Because we're married.
Married people don't have joint accounts for sports games.
Okay.
Lillian, that was Austin, by the way.
But they could.
Everyone on the podcast and then on video, Lillian just got alcohol delivery by her live-in partner.
That was pretty sweet.
Eric.
Amazing.
He says, "Go Yankees," by the way.
Hell yeah, go Yankees, all day, baby.
Or
I don't know.
Can my brother make bets on it? What if I give my brother $2,000 and then he places a $2,000 bet? Is that allowed? Like
no.
It is, but who's following
up?
It's
not.
On it, right?
You're right. I mean, everyone. You're absolutely right. No, but that's kind of the way to get away with it, right? Because you can't really prove.
Well, we've said
unless there's like literally some kind of money transfer.
We've really talked to death about sports gambling because it's interesting. We've said it is that for as many people who get caught, there are people who are not getting caught because it's really easy to sports gamble, and it's really to do it.
And yet, how are people getting caught? Because they're not too bright.
No, they're getting caught because people narc on them because it's really fun to narc on people.
So that's really fun. Another thing. So that's another. So it didn't say which one. So one of like the DraftKings or the FanDuels, one of them spilled the beans on it
because it's illegal.
They're a partner with Major League Baseball.
Right.
Sure.
So they're sharing personal data.
I mean, you think about
that
it.
technically illegal?
You got to think about it.
Maybe.
Insider trading has been
those terms.
insider trading has been ethically and morally irresponsible and illegal for as long as the stock market has existed. And people still
and yet it still happens. And yet
people still insider trade. And the relationship between sports gambling and insider trading is pretty much 1-for-1, right?
I mean, fair, but also
you have insider knowledge and even control. If we take like the parlay bets that have been caught in the NBA, even control over a bet. So and so shoots 16 3-pointers in one game and he stops at 15. So weird. He shot 20 every game. I mean,
that's exactly where I take issue, right? So like if you're betting against your team's best interests, and yes, 100%, come down hard.
Sure.
I don't think that's ever actually happened. Like,
but that's what they're defending against.
Agreed. Like they're defending against like the Black Sox, right? Where like they throw a World Series, right? Like that's like okay, fair. But I don't think that that's ever what actually these bans are happening, right?
It's a really relevant reference, by the way.
I love it.
I know.
So current. So current.
Yes.
Oh, no, leave me alone.
You know those Black Sox from the 1920s?
Yeah. 1917.
They're all over the newspapers.
Spoiler alert.
All over the picture machine. There, see?
Leave me alone. Anyway.
I agree literally completely that the thing that is the problem is when players are throwing games or doing non-positive things that they get paid for. But the question is why are they missing it? And B, why are they so strict? And I think because it's impossible to get everyone and because they have to.
Well, I think in another respects, like, all right, so you're betting on your team to win the game, even though you're in. Aren't you technically already paid for that because you have a contract with the team? And so
but typically you're betting on the team to lose the game. And
that's not
typically the people who get
No. But I like in Marcano's case, he was betting on his team to win a lot of the games.
And he lost all those bets.
Same thing.
He lost money.
He lost a lot of the bets.
Yeah.
Pete Rose, same thing too, wasn't it? Didn't Pete Rose bet on games for his team to win?
Or the Reds to win. Yeah. He was a manager, he wasn't a player, but still, like, it was the same.
Exactly.
But he bet on them to win.
In a lot of respects, you're essentially double dipping in something that you're already supposed to get paid for. I think that's potentially. I don't know if Major League Baseball or any of these sports entities have really thought about anything like that. It's really like they want to draw that.
That I work for. I make dividends on the stock for the company, and I buy that stock at a discounted price because I'm an employee.
Yeah. Isn't that technically insider trading?
Okay, right. It's not technically insider trading. Now, if Lillian knew that a product that she worked on wasn't going to hit release on a certain date, and she sold all of her shares and told all of her friends to sell all their shares, that is the problem.
Oh, that's totally insider trading.
Totally insider trading. It's literally the definition of it. But like, I think that the problem, and we're all saying the same thing, the problem is not the people who are betting on their teams to win because they want their teams to win. It's the people, it's the guy in the NBA who missed a 3-pointer or made a 3-pointer and looked really sad on national television that he made a 3-pointer because he bet against him making 3-pointers. Like he was like, you should have done that.
Right. That kind of shit
was also the guy that was only supposed to like play a certain amount of minutes, and then all of a sudden he's injured,
I gotta go.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck you. And we're out of time.
Like, 100% agree on that.
Hell yeah.
That deserves a high five.
Get it. Ooh. Gotta get better at not calling out the soundboard.
Sorry.
We're like, oh my god, we're gonna soundboard you guys. Soundboard.
Guys, I'm gonna use this thing.
That is a truth fact.
There, Mark didn't telegraph
Mark,
it.
sing me a song, buddy.
Oh, sugar, da 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 da. It's the next topic, da 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 da.
I like that one.
I really like that one.
I like that one too.
Yes.
One of the most interesting stories of the news week, one of the last vestiges of trusted online journalism, The Atlantic, announced a product partnership with OpenAI. So on the surface, it will allow ChatGPT to reference editorial content on The Atlantic when responding to queries, and will give the LLM the ability to train on its archive. Other trusted sources such as Business Insider, Politico, Vox Media, including The Verge, have made similar arrangements. So, on the other side of the coin, with the New York Times and other publishers suing OpenAI for their frankly brash and erratic behavior, how can we explain this large group joining forces? Is it simply for a payday, or are they desperately trying to cling onto relevance in fear of being swept aside?
What a great question.
No Los Dos. Why not
Thank
both?
you.
Wow.
But I mean, The Atlantic and Politico, you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
is
in
this
some
the end?
respects,
Are we done?
No, this is that episode where like He-Man and Skeletor have to team up to fight some other bad guy.
That's really good.
Right?
That's really good. I mean, we always said, we've been covering AI for a year. It's been going on for a year now. Because the whole show has been
just 1 year.
Right.
1 year.
AI's only been in existence of 1 year.
If you would listen to the Computex
we always
keynotes,
said
oh my god,
when they opened up the internet, then it would start to get really blurry, like really blurry.
Yeah.
I mean, and so we're taking a source, and I literally just talked to a journalist friend of mine. We literally take a source that of the Atlantic that people really trust.
Did his name rhyme with Mick Carshall?
No, it didn't. I know other people that I know people
source.
besides Rick. Hey, Rick.
I know people.
I know people. But like for real, the fact that you can now have ChatGPT being like, well, this editorial about the Atlantic was referenced. I mean, we sort of blur the lines between the need for people writing creative content.
And that's what I worry about with the Athletic and Politico now, is the fact that they might potentially cut their staff by at least half because of this deal now.
Not the Athletic, by the way. The Atlantic.
Oh, the Atlantic. I'm sorry.
Atlantic, yeah.
I'm sorry. I meant to say Atlantic.
But I mean,
No, probably the Athletic will do it too.
Yeah, I mean, no, yeah.
Isn't okay? The very fact that this is a language model and it's not actually thinking for itself, it's not really AI. The long-term effects of this, and I think we've talked about this already in the show. You replace all your writers with this thing. Eventually, it's going to be like, oh wait, I ran out of stuff, and the content quality is just going to keep like recycling itself. So it's just regurgitated until it's just gross.
I mean, it's going to start eating its own tail, you guys.
That's what I'm saying. This is going to devolve into absolute nonsense, and this is how we all become dumb.
I think my biggest concern is that we will reach a time in our lifetime future where it will be hard to tell what's real. And
I think we're already there.
Actually, truly hard.
It's getting closer, yeah.
Truly hard.
We're already there.
Hard to tell.
Look at some of the deep fakes that are out there now. I mean, they look incredibly
and I'm not even really
real.
Talking about like realistic pictures or realistic video, and realistic pictures and video are bonkers.
That is bonkers, yeah.
Bonkers. Like you're like, hey, I'm Kevin Hart. Please sign up here to be my best friend if you give me $1 million. Like, right?
But if you look close on some of those, wait a second. Kevin Hart doesn't have 7 fingers.
Still don't know that first. You don't know that.
He only has 6.
But here's the question: is that and with most malware, most scams are not for us. It's for the soft brains.
The soft brains.
The smooth brains.
What a term! I've never heard.
Smooth-brained individuals, right? Where we're like, oh, you're vulnerable to scam, and they're like, oh, I saw it on the internet. It has to be real. It's on the internet. The internet doesn't lie. Yes, it does. It lies all the time.
Can I use that one? Do I have your permission if somebody gives me crap and I'll be like, you have a soft brain?
Yeah, you should.
That's our next t-shirt.
Like, how would you react to that? You're like, what?
Don't be a soft brain.
Yeah.
I think I'm sad about it.
It just makes me think of Pinky the Brain.
So I mean, but like that's been true before.
Good show.
AI, right? Like there's always been like trolls and people out there creating things on the internet that are not true that people are going to believe. So like, but I think Pete is right that like the thing with AI is that it always needs content. So I mean, with the Atlantic and with all of these people sort of partnering with AI, I think that makes their new content creation that much more valuable and important. Now, whether or not they cut down on their staff, I think like that's sort of a product of like just journalism kind of going to the wayside, which is extremely sad for our
That's another
society.
problem. Yeah.
Yeah, but unrelated to AI, you know. And then, but I
It's a
think
little
then
related to AI.
I don't think it's entirely related to AI, and that there are other people who are still going to create content. So I think trying to
But are there?
filter, yeah, I mean, there's always people on the internet who are creating content, right? So I think trying to make sure that we have reputable sources who are also feeding that content creating machine of AI is
I think my
incredibly important.
concern
Yeah.
is that humans are inherently lazy. Inherently, right? And we're constantly looking for shortcuts, and we're constantly looking for efficiency boosts. And it's like AI as a product, and the promises of it are that, right? We're like, well, you know how you only had to write one article a week? Well, now you're feeding Instagram. I mean, you're a content creator, right? And you're feeding Instagram, and you're feeding TikTok, and you're feeding Facebook, and you have to write something meaningful and pithy, and you have to do it every day, and you have to do it 5
pithy.
times, and you have to do it good. And like the promise, because I'll tell you, for that bullshit mind work that you have to do, the promise of ChatGPT to do that is really unbelievable. And having just gotten off a tenure of running a PTA, writing bullshit emails,
Yeah.
ChatGPT does it better than me, and I don't have the time to do it. And so ChatGPT just does it, and I'm just like, awesome. That's awesome.
That's exactly what AI I think should be, right? Is AI, I can't remember who said it, but somebody smarter than me said it, that AI should be the one who's doing my dishes and doing my laundry so that I
Fuck
have
yeah.
time to create art and create poetry and create what the human experience can do. I shouldn't be using ChatGPT to write poetry and write papers and write art so that I have time to do my laundry and do my dishes.
Now I'm going to ask you a really tough
it's-
question
when you
that we're
put
going
it
to
like
end
that,
on.
it's just ass backwards.
Let's believe that when we free up our minds from menial tasks, that we do art and music and science and we advance. But do you think that we as a civilization actually have the energy to do that? Or do you think people are just going to get drunk? And
Some
watch
will.
People are gonna get
sports?
drunk. People are gonna get drunk.
Yeah,
People
but-
want to do nothing.
People will get drunk and people will create art.
But yeah, and I mean, I think even the people that get
And the
drunk
world
will
will continue to
eventually
turn.
still make something.
We're doing it right
you
now. We're
guys are so
drinking
fucking-
and creating art.
I think some
You guys
people
are so
will.
fucking positive.
I want to.
Some
be hopeful.
people will. Not most people won't.
Yeah.
That's fine. But
Most
that's fine,
people want to
because
want to just sit on their ass and get paid to do nothing.
Well,
and those people were never going to create art or.
But
change
let's
the
think
world
about
to
it too.
begin
Like
Mhm.
the
And
dream
there's a lot of those people.
Yeah.
of
That's
an
fine. And that's
AI cyborg that does everything for everyone, and then humanity is completely free to pursue whatever interests we want. There's no need for money because there's no need for services because it's completely automated. Let's say 100 years from now. I mean, what are we, Wall-E, or are we ancient Greece? Right? Do we make art and music, and do we advance, or do we all get fat and ride around on hover-rounds? I think we ride around on hover-rounds, you guys. I'm sorry.
It's tough.
I mean, in
there's
that,
a
Meanwhile-
lot of it depends in that.
Right.
Yeah.
And then meanwhile, the robots do the Bicentennial Man thing and become Robin Williams eventually.
I was gonna say, like,
Rest
hopefully
in
AI
peace.
in 100 years doesn't realize that humans are worthless, so they don't need us anymore.
Oh no. Well, this
Terminator
is
model.
why there's plenty of movies about that too.
I've seen that
Yeah.
movie, and we are so done again.
We've seen lots of those movies.
Oh, this totally.
No, we got to
needs-
end on Pete doing the Terminator music.
And-
It's amazing.
Get the next topic now. We'd like to thank another fake sponsor,
You can't call
Ultimate
it out.
Umbrella Stadium Seats. Enjoy the game in any weather with Ultimate Umbrella Stadium Seats. Our seats come with built-in weather protection so they can stay comfortable rain or shine. Ultimate Umbrella, the best seat outside the house.
I like that.
Definitely a real product.
I want one. It's like, oh, it could have a button coming out of the lawn chair. Like you unfold your lawn chair and then, oh, it's raining.
Yeah. No, it just made me think that it's just a covered seat. Like
I
all the
definitely
time.
need like.
I think it
like,
needs to be
have
the cool
speakers
umbrella
that
thing.
pop out, like speakers, and they're just like right here, and
That would be awesome.
Oh yeah.
I would hate to be the person sitting behind you though.
Nah.
Got a cup holder.
Humans are assholes. We don't care about that.
Humans are assholes. Anyway,
All right.
the name JB Bickerstaff may not be meaningful to most listening or even hosting this podcast. He is the son of former coach Bernie Bickerstaff, and he is also now the former coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Altogether, Bickerstaff coached Cleveland for 4 seasons, including being in the playoffs for the latter 2. Unfortunately, this wasn't good enough for the brass in the Cleve, as Bickerstaff was fired even after signing a multi-year extension 3 seasons
Hold up,
ago.
the Cleve.
The Cleve.
From the Ohio native.
That is a 30 Rock reference.
From the Ohio native, do people say
I don't
that?
remember that.
No, that is a 30. That is a 30 Rock reference,
I know, I'm fucking with you.
and 30 Rock only. Darvin Ham received the same fate after 2 seasons with the Los Angeles Lakers. In fact, the Lakers have had 8 coaches in the last 13 years, and none of them have lasted longer than 3 seasons, even though one of them also won a championship. Now, it is worth noting that LeBron James has had a say in the 2 previous head coaches for the Lakers. And with his new vacancy, LeBron recently interviewed former NBA player, John, listen to this, J.J. Redick on his podcast, of which some are saying it was an actual job interview. So everyone, why do owners have a seemingly quick trigger finger on coaches? And should players like LeBron have control over the coaching hires? And this isn't just the NBA too. This is
because it's
Yeah, I was
NHL.
going to say I have perspective on this for NHL mainly.
I mean, honestly, you, what's his face? Who's the guy who just went to? It's hard to fire millionaires. There's so many people who go into running a professional sports team, and you
But
can't
yet they-
fire them all.
But yet they do so often.
But there's so many that are like they
Actually,
get
extremely
signed
easy
these
to hire
contracts,
later.
and then like later on it's like no, just
No, the
leave.
easiest thing to do when
Right.
you're a front office and your
Let's
team
Kingsbury.
sucks, and
Is that what
you
you were thinking of?
shouldn't- no. The guy who was gonna say fix Russ, and my brain just shut off. Who was gonna fix Russ?
Sean Payton.
Sean Payton. Sean Payton came into Denver and he's like, I can't fire everybody.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I fired Russ because he sucks. Because I can't fire everybody. I mean, it's easier to make one big change than a lot of small changes. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I mean that was the one move that affected the most change.
Well, why would you hire why would you sign them to this long like 3, 4, 5-year deal and then it's like no we're good I'm just gonna pay you to go away.
Yeah, I'd like to see the number of coaches that got major extensions to their contracts or new contracts and then were fired within 365 calendar days.
I mean
Every sport does it. It's easy to fire coaches.
Every sport
sport.
does it.
Every
It's
sport
not.
does it.
It's not a very good financial decision. So I don't know why these billionaires are doing it because they're supposed to be smart business
Now,
people,
what
right?
sucks is that having non-consistent coaching staff, and we can say that for a lot of teams, and a lot of NFL teams really. So like you have a QB who has a different QB coach every year that is like starts as a rookie, like Sam Darnold, right? Sam Darnold never stood a chance. Zach Taylor never stood a chance. Those guys just didn't
Zach
have
Wilson.
good. Zach Wilson.
I was gonna say Zach Taylor.
The Zach Taylor
Chance.
bit.
Well, Zach Wilson sucks, so it doesn't matter
Well,
who coached him.
Would Zach Wilson have sucked if he wasn't
No.
on the goddamn Jets?
Oh yes, he would have sucked regardless.
Still.
Of what
I
he
don't
was.
know.
He is an awful quarterback.
I still feel bad for Sam Darnold though. I feel like the Jets actually did ruin him.
I think he wouldn't even do well in a Kyle Shanahan system.
Zach Wilson.
Now, if
Wow.
we talk about JB Bickerstaff just for a second, because we
Yeah,
get
yeah.
distracted easy, you guys.
Sorry.
Squirrel.
The Cavs were really good this year, and Donovan Mitchell
Cavs were
didn't play
really
any.
good.
They didn't play
Yes.
any playoff games
He didn't
because
deserve
Donovan
to be
Mitchell
fired.
was hurt. I
He
don't
did not
think
deserve
he
to be
deserved to be
fired.
fired because it wasn't his fault. Donovan Mitchell got hurt,
Oh,
No, that's
And you
just a
take any
scapegoat
NBA
at that
team.
point.
and you have an NBA teams are really very subject to this. The Knicks notwithstanding, right? Eventually, too many players can get hurt.
What I would
well, and
I mean-
when the important players get hurt too, like the ones that are making like the max contracts, those hurt anyone.
Right.
Being a coach is a political position at the end of the day, right? And so I just feel like some people are better at politics than other people. It's a political position and it's a strategic position, just like a politician, right? Like you have to, in theory, be making moves that are in the best interest of like your stakeholders, but you also have to be playing the game of being likable and liked by your players, liked by the owner, liked by the fans, liked by everybody. And so if you're good at one but not the other, it doesn't really matter if the odds are like staked against you if like nobody really likes you.
Yeah.
I'm
The
little
owner especially.
I'm a little,
I feel like that's kind of a big one.
I'm a little pissed that, I mean, I'm not pissed that the Yankees are good this year, but like I hate Aaron Boone, and Aaron Boone was on the verge of getting fired, and somehow the Yankees magically figured out pitching in this first half of the season. And they really shouldn't have, but they did. They figured out pitching, and now Aaron Boone's not going to get fired.
So this is a case where you do think the coach should be fired, but now they won't.
He's just a worthless human being, man.
Yeah.
But the Yankees seem like they are being coached very well right now, because there are a number of players on that pitching staff.
How do you not do well with Judge and Soto?
Judge and Soto are hitting out of their minds.
They're being compared to Gehrig and Ruth right now.
I know they are. It's really fun.
I'm not a big baseball person, but I have a feeling that seems slightly exaggerated.
Well,
yeah, especially after 2 months.
Yeah,
I mean, if they got rid of if they got rid of
Aaron Boone,
the coach Aaron Boone, thank you, and then I would say that Aaron Judge and Juan Soto and whoever else is influential on the Yankees should be involved in like the interviewing process for deciding who is the next. They shouldn't be the only voice, but they should be involved.
Who is the NFL QB who was integral in? It just happened into the coaching decision. I don't remember. It's a terrible story. Never mind. Forget I ever spoke.
Well, no, it happens a lot. Like,
yeah, it can. Yeah,
it happens more often than it really should. Like LeBron, he has had a say in the last 2 coaches, and they have both been fired after 2 seasons. At a certain point, maybe you should listen to him if this is happening.
Yeah,
like he is LeBron, phenomenal player. He's a phenomenal player, but maybe he shouldn't. Like, the proof is in the pudding. You get the results. I will say this. Talking about politics, I wanted to bring up 3 particular NBA teams, of which one is in a city that Lillian used to live in, Milwaukee. Adrian Griffin this past year was hired after Mike Budenholzer was fired. He fired 2 years after winning a title, which was he got fired after 7 months on the job. He did not even have a full season under his belt. And his record was 30-13 when he got fired. They were the number 3 seed at the time.
What is that about?
Why would you fire that?
Politics.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We don't know.
Because
they wanted to get Doc Rivers. And what did Doc do? Granted,
I'm guessing worse.
Granted, Giannis wasn't healthy. They lost in the first round. But Doc actually had a worse record than recently fired Andy Griffin. 7 months on the job.
Damn.
You have a worse record than Andy Griffin.
Andy Griffin.
Sick burn, bro. All right. I have so many good questions and I don't know what to do next, Mark. But you should sing me a song.
Next topic.
Short song.
Did you not hear that? Did you not hear my whistling?
No, I didn't hear
you
it.
whistling. But the next topic was very good. You want to try it again?
I need to wet my whistle.
Wet your whistle.
Ooh.
Ew. Gross.
Next topic.
Was it not
Still
picking up the
hear it.
whistling?
Still the whistle.
All right. We're gonna have to scratch whistling. Anyway,
that pop filter you
going.
have is too good. It even blocks the whistle air.
I know. Maybe I should. Yeah.
Too breathy.
Yeah.
Too breathy.
You're too breathy.
So
Take that back.
we're here at If These Balls Could Talk are always scooping stories, and as expected, there are more eyes and more talk regarding the WNBA than ever before. Arenas are selling out, and players have finally had charter flights arranged for traveling teams instead of flying coach to and from games. The talk of this week, however, is how those eyes have turned into jealousy and overly aggressive play towards the NCAA leading scorer and #1 draft pick, Caitlin Clark. This past week, in Just the Fever's, and they're not good, you guys, Just the Fever's second win for the season over Angel Reese's Chicago Sky, Clark was shoulder checked on an away from the ball foul, which turned into a flagrant 1 earlier in this week. That is after the game. So why all the hatred? Why do the players seem jealous and not excited for the unprecedented growth of their sport, no matter where it comes from? And finally, do you think the Fever should listen to Mr. Good Advice, Draymond Green, and invest in an enforcer?
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed in some the other players in the Indian Fever because I feel like they should be trying to protect Caitlin Clark because they're definitely gunning for her right now. And that flagrant foul, by the way, I don't remember who it was called on, but
Kennedy Carter.
Thank you. That was so apparent. Why it wasn't called?
She tackled her.
Why it wasn't called a flagrant foul in the game? I have no idea why. So this is definitely happening. She's definitely being targeted. You would think the refs would be instructed by the WNBA to look at it because they want to protect Caitlin Clark. The WNBA does.
Of course, she's the best thing in the league right now in terms of recognition
and the Fever again. They should have
money.
her back.
Yeah.
So
they sold out the All-Star game in 15 minutes this year.
Yes.
15 minutes.
Everyone wants to see it. I mean, I spoke about the Connecticut Sun game that was she was coming out. Tickets were like 10 times higher than they normally are. And people are paying those tickets.
I didn't think this was needed in basketball, but like Gretzky had his Messier.
This is a little bit of a hazing going on.
Yeah,
but
yes,
this is a competitive league. Everyone wants to be the top dog. And,
do they need an enforcer on her?
Given it.
Yeah, like do they need an enforcer on her team that just kicks the shit out of people that try to do something?
So there are a number of Draymond Green, obviously the enforcer. But there are a number of NBA players that are saying that it's a little bit on the players of the Fever that they should be kind of watching her back.
Absolutely.
There are a lot of pro players, Diana Taurasi and Brittany Griner, who are not getting involved. They're a little bit older, who were saying that they're just really happy there's eyes on the league. These women that are old. Yes. I think the problem is in all of these, and it might be because the WNBA is still kind of a fledgling sport. But it might be because all of these women thought that they were going to change the league, and they wanted to, and they felt that it was important. Like Angel Reese consistently says and reminds the press that she is also a reason that the eyes are up, and she's saying it again and again
she is.
and again. And she is, by the way, she is. So like, I don't necessarily know if it's fair that people like Kennedy Carter after this game that they lost, and they probably shouldn't have lost. She says, I ain't answering no Caitlin Clark questions. They don't want to talk about it because that's all anybody wants to talk about. So it's like it's like kind of kicking a horse, and they want to be happy about making money, but everybody reminds them that the only reason that the league is relevant right now is because Caitlin Clark's in it. I don't necessarily believe that's true, but like that's what people are saying.
I mean, I can understand the frustration there, but you can't take that out on Caitlin Clark herself on the court. Like,
was actually really ridiculous.
I think there would be half as much talk about this if it was men's sports. Like all of this talk about like, oh, they're just being overly aggressive. Why are they taking it out on like? It's an aggressive sport. It's a contact sport. Like,
I'm going to say something about that though, and just to bring it up,
possible.
Men's sports. Sports have had superstars for as long as sports has existed, and I've never seen this before.
Well, I feel like we have.
I feel like we have too, but it's definitely. I mean, there's definitely.
He just said Gretzky had an enforcer. Like we're more maybe.
I mean, we're not talking about hockey though. Let's do apples and apples. Like let's talk about. Let's talk about
Jordan, I guess. So when you go back to
when Doncic came to the league, Doncic he won the European title at 17, right? Doncic was a big star. He came with a lot of fanfare. That was pretty recently, right? I mean, there's no enforcers. That's not
a good comparison because Doncic. No. Doncic wasn't looked at to changing the game. Like the equivalent to a Caitlin Clark would probably be like a LeBron James.
Yeah,
LeBron James was the chosen one. I mean, he was actually even donned that nickname. Now LeBron James was also built like a fucking tank. So
that's the thing. He was bigger and stronger than everybody else. So
previous to him was Kobe Bryant.
Yep.
And look, I understand the frustration and a lot of the sexist comments like, oh, look at these women being so jealous, being so this and being so that. I don't think that's fair at all. But there is something that's happening that I haven't seen happen before, and I think it's relevant that we don't.
I think part of your comment about the refs sort of letting it happen is also relevant, right? So like the WNBA
Yeah.
is letting this happen, right? And so I think as
Because
long
it's interesting.
I guess.
it's interesting,
But
and it is
Yeah,
still
think
pulling
they're
the
doing
eyes.
it on
And as long
purpose
as
because it's
and
getting
as
people
long
to
as
talk
Caitlin
about it.
Clark, as long as Caitlin Clark doesn't get severely injured to where she can't play, it's still fun.
yeah,
What's actually really interesting.
It is fun until she actually does get seriously injured.
Caitlin Clark doesn't suffer no fools. She didn't in college. She hasn't been in the WNBA. And so she is also getting teed up a lot because she's fighting back. And there's talk. There is a rule in basketball, but also in the WNBA. If you get a certain number of flagrant fouls, you get suspended. So there is talk
You mean technical fouls?
Yes, technical fouls.
It's actually both. It's actually both.
Yeah. There's talk that she's going to get kind of quiet suspended for just like sticking up for herself. So
that's madness.
Yeah, it's madness. It's total madness.
I mean, I think the answer should be that her teammates should have her back in all seriousness. Like,
I agree.
the league is clearly not going to do anything about it because people are talking about it. Now, if it keeps happening, yeah, someone's going to like seriously hurt her, and then the league is going to be like, oops. Because they in some respects they should do a little bit more to protect her if they want the league to really have that fire. You got to have that momentum, right? There's so much momentum around Caitlin Clark. People want to see her. If all of a sudden they can't see her anymore, guess what?
That's why I think that the league should also invest in making sure that the press isn't only focused on Caitlin Clark as well. So like the same reason that all of the players are pissed off that every single question about Caitlin Clark, like at some point the fans are going to get burnt out about that too. And what we need if Caitlin Clark does get hurt, whether or not it's in a game or just like, I don't know, falls down the steps, whatever. Like if she can't play, they have a lot of money to lose. So like their better long-term investment is for them to make sure that the press and that the stories are not just about her, but about the entire league, because the entire league is interesting, right? Like it hasn't gotten the coverage that it should have, and I don't even like basketball, but like they're just as fun and just as good as any men's basketball league.
I don't think they're smart enough to think about that.
Like
they should. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. They should.
Yeah.
Long term.
Is making sure that people are invested in all of the players of the league and not just fiery ones right now.
Clayton Clark also has a turnover problem. She has a lot of turnovers.
Well, she handles the ball a lot.
Yeah,
she'll clean that up. I mean, she's a rookie. Give her a chance.
I think that the Fever have a lot more building to do, and it can't just be her and Aaliyah Boston. Aaliyah Boston being their first round draft pick last year when they were also terrible.
Yeah, I know. They have arguably two of the best basketball players in the WNBA right now, and they can't win anything.
2 wins so far.
I blame coaching.
And we're done.
You should fire that coach.
Yes, I was waiting for someone to bring it back to the previous
topic. Wrap it up.
Ooh, I want the next topic. Not much longer will it be time.
Nice.
That was beautiful. I love your voice.
So there's another Bad Boys movie coming out, and the stars have been on a media blitz to hype its release. This means that Will Smith is back in the public eye.
What you wanna do?
Despite the infamous slap heard around the world from only 2 years ago at the Oscars. Prior to the slap, according to Statista.com, Smith had an approval rating of 80% based off of surveys, and then it dipped down to 50% after the Oscars incident. Now, if he's back in the public eye, though, it seems that people are ready to gamble on the former Fresh Prince of Bel-Air's star popularity again. So, everyone, has the world forgiven Will Smith, or have we forgotten due to recency bias?
I think it's another break glass in case of emergency situation. I mean, Bad Boys is a great IP. It's a great IP, and it theoretically...
He's doing Legends 2 as well.
Legends 2 is in production.
Just pick right now. If you want to be famous again, just pick your best IP and just put it out and see what happens. Throw it against the wall.
Do you think this... I don't think that making a fourth Bad Boys movie really had anything to do with this, though. Like, I think it was already in the making prior to the slap.
Okay, let's think about this for a second. Will Smith making a King James a King Charles movie about the
No, you're right
Serena,
before.
Yeah, King James movie about Serena Williams and her life and trying to get an Oscar that's a different producer.
I'm sorry, King Richard.
Whatever. That's a different producer
say.
than is making a summer fun action blockbuster, right? It's a different crowd. It's just different. It's like it's apples and oranges.
So he had that movie right after the Oscars that came out on Apple. It was called it was about him being a slave.
But it's a Will Smith movie that we don't know about.
Well, this movie, this was supposed to be like his next Oscar after King Richard.
I do remember
Emancipation. That's what it was called.
Yeah.
And nobody watched that movie, Mark.
Because nobody wanted to support Will Smith, and it came out on Apple TV.
Yeah.
And he has not put out a movie since Emancipation.
I mean, I don't think that I ever really held anything against Will Smith. If anything, I kind of just feel bad for Will Smith because I know a lot more about Jada Pinkett Smith than I do.
Yo, she's a fucking horror.
She's a fiery woman.
Is she the Yoko Ono?
No, I mean the problem is that we can pretty much confirm all the things she did in her red letter, her red table thing, and her cheating on him with like her son's friends and talking about
that's just
it.
Not being a good human being right there.
She's a terror. And I mean, if you watch
loves her though.
If you watch the path of the Oscars, like his friend Chris Rock told a funny joke and he laughed. It's on camera. He laughed.
Yeah, he laughed initially.
And then the camera went to her looking all pissed off, and she's like, "You better fucking do something, or I'm gonna sleep with your son's friend again." Like, right? And he went up and kicked. He just made a
lies like that.
Made a very bad decision. I made a very bad decision in a very public way because he is been gaslit for a long time.
I just don't feel I don't feel like there is anything to forgive on my part, at least. I'll speak only for myself, but I just feel bad for him. Like,
oh no, I don't think that there is literally anything wrong with sticking up for your partner. And I mean, I think the thing that he is getting a little bit knocked for is there's also no place for toxic masculinity in 2024 or 2023, whenever it fucking happened. And in like a real public way and a real Oscar crowd way, I don't think there's a place for that with those people at all.
Yeah, that's right. I'm pretty sure that's the first time that's happened at the Oscars.
Well, yeah,
after party is a whole other story that I'm sure.
Obviously, it's the first time it's happened at the Oscars, but like, I mean, you're talking about like, you know, these kind of people who speak like this. So, Benny, we're going down to the park and we're having some nice tea. I mean, fuck those guys, right?
All of the people,
and that's why Bad Boys is more fun. Yes, all the people. That's why Bad Boys is more fun than Bridgerton, right? Because we like guns and
they're both British, but
right. We like guns and explosions and cars, and we like Mike Lowry. Mike Lowry, Bad Boys, right, is awesome. He drives a fucking Ferrari, and he has sex with a ton of people, and he's cool as fuck. Just cool.
Counterpoint, Bridgerton is really good. So
Bridgerton is really good.
I think we can apples and orange that.
I think Bridgerton has just as much sex.
Yeah,
it's the first.
At least season
it's
1.
The first fancy voice thing that came to me because Will and I just finished season 4, so.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Steph was talking about Bridgerton gets a little hot and heavy sometimes.
We're caught up. I'm caught up.
Spicy show. But I mean, yeah.
Talk about body positivity, by the way. Season 3 Bridgerton. Hell yeah.
Totally agree. But I mean, that's obviously apples and oranges. But yeah, like Bad Boys is a fun movie franchise, right? And
fun.
I think
doesn't need to be anything but fun.
Yeah. And apparently, I heard hearsay is that there's a scene where Will Smith gets slapped, and I think that'll just be really funny. Like, at least for me.
Wow.
But way to read the room, right? Just like way to read the room and be like,
lean into it. Like,
lean into it. It was ridiculous.
This is not where I expected this topic to go.
That's fine.
And we're out of time. And I think we should end on that because I think that's great.
Okay, I think I got one.
Yeah, I
But
don't think
Pete-
it's not. Pete, it's not that, buddy.
Oh, it's
But Pete,
It's time.
it's
Oh. Missed opportunity.
That's right. Embrace it, Pete. Embrace it. It's the final topic.
Ah, so fun. So fun. It's too bad I'm going to bring us all down.
Oh,
Oh,
he got to it before I did.
NFL kicker and
Oh.
narcissistic asshole Brandon McManus was released from the Washington Commanders on Sunday night.
Can we
Coach Dan
henceforth
Quinn-
from here
I'm
call
so-
him Brian
I'm-
McAnus?
Yeah, you guys kept calling him McMahon-ass last week.
Well, his name is McManus. Coach Dan Quinn said the team was unaware of the sexual assault allegations against him when they signed him in free agency. And this is all just 7 days after Washington learned of the lawsuit filed against him by 2 women who claimed he sexually assaulted them during an overseas flight to London last season when he played for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So first, let's just start. Bravo to Washington for not suffering fools, immediately separating themselves from McManus and hiring UFL journeyman kicker Ramiz Ahmed. Do we think that their fast actions are a comment on the strength of their new front office or in fear of not repeating the past mistakes under the Dan Snyder regime?
Can we
both.
say a little bit of both?
a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that this would have happened regardless of the franchise that he was on.
It's just interesting that
Well,
it's
yeah, I mean, look at the
Washington.
consequences
Oh,
if they
absolutely.
didn't
No,
do it
yeah.
immediately. Yeah.
I mean, Dan Snyder. I mean, yeah, you definitely want to get away from him as much as possible. I don't know. What are your guys' opinion? Do you think the same thing would have happened on other franchises? Because I do.
Yeah, I think
that
so.
my better question is, do we think that this would have happened if it was a star quarterback as opposed to like a who cares kicker?
That
No.
That is a
good
great
question.
Very good question.
I think
mean,
we've
and
already
I-
seen that.
I mean, look
though,
at Deshaun
haven't we?
Watson, case in point.
Yeah.
Like that's the question. Like right. So is like if it's Washington now, it's your star versus
Mhm. The kicker.
any other
right?
franchise. Yeah.
Well, we've definitely seen this in the past with Ben Roethlisberger, Jameis Winston,
100%. 100%.
Yep.
Deshaun Watson, like Pete said. We've seen this, and it's we've kind of seen this with not just quarterbacks too. We've seen it with running backs with Kareem Hunt and Ray Rice.
I mean,
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Can we just we just talked about this with Harrison Butker. What kind of sad man who is the kicker on a team is just like all like, well, ladies, look at me. I'm a badass. Fuck you,
I
buddy.
don't know.
I'm an NFL kicker.
Fuck you, buddy.
There's
You
a-
have the lamest job. Your job is lame.
This is something with kickers lately. So there's the guy, not kicker, punter. Matt Ariza, I think.
Still
was
a
his
lame
name, right?
job.
Drafted by the Bills because he could punt 70 yards.
You
gets
always
a
bring
bunch
it
of-
back to the Bills.
He gets it. Well, I mean, he wasn't on there very long. They cut him immediately after
They
all
did.
those
They
allegations
did.
came out, which actually turned out to be negative. Like he was clear, his name was cleared, but it's still though. It's
Where does he
I mean,
have
that's-
a Does he have a job right now?
I don't think so. Somebody might have taken him. Yeah.
Research department. Why don't you look that up?
I don't want to.
All right. I'll look it
I mean,
up.
that's the
not worth
unfortunate
the
part.
effort.
Is that and
The takeaway:
obviously
you can be a terrible person as long as you are really, really good at your job, and your job is important. Is there like a curve that we can like?
there is
that would be
100%.
NFL
There's
Yes.
100% a
that-
curve.
Terrible
I mean,
person versus
obviously,
good at sports.
McManus's legal team is telling him that telling everyone that he's innocent, but he's clearly not because the world is full of narcissistic assholes acting like they own things.
Come on,
and
your name literally has anus in the name.
You can't even, as a kicker or a punter, or any like, you can't even be like, I'm, I play football. I'm meant to be aggressive. Like, this is my whole job, and like, you're the kicker, bro. Like, what's your excuse?
Bro.
Like,
And even
my
if you
God,
weren't,
yes.
sorry, that's not the way the world works anymore.
Guess
100%
who
agree.
signed Ariza? The Chiefs.
I thought it might have been the Chiefs. He's technically cleared of any and all charges, but it's
The
still
rich
just
get richer potentially.
The evil
Yeah.
empire.
Yep.
The evil empire.
I'm
Just
looking to
keep-
see if he's the only punter on the team. But
Just keep on keeping on.
there's no depth chart.
I don't know.
Mhm.
I think that
Too soon in the season.
I think that Washington has a special place and in their heads a special like mindset to really keep their noses clean, and so they had to act very quickly. I think that
rightfully
this
so.
offseason has so far been sort of a landmine filled offseason for NFL players. Rashee Rice getting in that car accident and just like a whole bunch of people hurting a whole bunch of people.
I believe he's not getting charged with anything.
Really? After all
Amazing.
that? Didn't he hit and
Amazing.
run?
I did. He did. He was racing with his friends.
Yeah, and like
With the rental
severely
car.
injured somebody.
Yeah, got into like a 6-car accident. It's fine.
Damn.
He's rich.
Huh.
He knows senators. I mean, like, right?
Apparently,
And that's
yeah.
what Lil is saying. It's pretty fucked up that if you're important enough in this country and this world and you have enough money, you can get away with anything.
That's my problem. Like
And
that's
now
always
we're
my problem.
sad.
Like as a
Womp womp.
Cincinnati fan, like we had a reputation, I don't know, 20 years ago or whatever, of having like bugs and whatever, but all of our people were charged with like DUI or like drug possession and like largely nonviolent crimes, and nobody ever got hurt, right? And so the whole fan base and everybody was basically just like, yeah, we don't care if you get suspended or whatever, but you still have to go to court, you still have to do your time in jail, you still have to like you still have to go through like a judicial process because like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what your job is, like you should still have to do that. And then like Roethlisberger and all of those things started happening, and it was like, oh yeah, lock that guy up. And then when the NFL or the Steelers or whoever, like the team or the league or whoever, just makes it go away, that's my problem.
Mhm.
I agree.
Like if you're a professional sports star, I always maintain that you should not be a role model as like a standard, right? Like you can be a terrible person and be good at sports. That's fine. But also if you commit crimes, you should have to go to jail.
Sure, they're not above the law.
It's that
And at the end-
basic for me.
Also, and
I feel like we're going
Right.
to talk about something else with that statement.
bullet point, you're a role model,
We
even
covered
if
that
you don't
last
want to
week.
be, even if you're a kicker, you're
I-
a role
I-
model. And the things you
I
do and the
don't-
things you say matter. Sorry, Mark.
Okay, so
Yeah, that's
anybody
true.
with a platform, that's fair point for, but
Mhm.
like professional sports players, athletes, whatever, like they shouldn't need to be inherently good people. Like that's not a qualification of the job. Politicians, yes, that's a qualification of the job. We should only be electing the best of us in theory, right? Like that
In
is what
theory,
we should
yes.
be doing.
Yeah, but
that's what we should be doing. But
I'm
like
gonna point on that though. You can't be inherently bad people, and if you're inherently bad and you get caught, you should get fired because
I disagree.
you are a role model.
I disagree.
Stop.
If I'm
Hard
an
stop.
inherently bad person, I can still do my job well, right? Like I can be a piece of shit but still do my job. So like if I can do my job, that's fine. You know what's
Okay.
really hard to do your job and show up every Sunday to play a game? If you're in jail.
Yeah, but like, okay, we're gonna go on this for a little longer.
All right.
If you work in an office, but you're also a career criminal, and your office finds out, they're gonna fire you, and you could be really good at your job, but also be a criminal and get fired. I mean, because I'm not saying that.
Define
Oh,
what that means.
I'm not
So, like,
saying
when
that-
I
yeah,
say-
companies
when I-
hire people that have the criminal history. Not all,
When I
but
say
some do.
terrible person, I don't necessarily mean breaking the law, right? I mean like I'm just a piece of shit. Like I talk
Like
shit to people.
Aaron
I'm
Rodgers.
just like Aaron
All
Rodgers.
right.
Like I'm just kind of a piece of shit.
The difference between Michael Vick and Aaron Rodgers, is this the line that we're doing? The difference between them?
Yes.
All right,
There
I'm
you
okay
go.
with that.
That's-
The
Okay.
difference
yeah.
between Michael Vick and Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a piece of shit, but Michael Vick is an asshole and a piece of shit.
Right. You
Who
can be an asshole,
actually
but not a
did terrible
scumbag.
things, yeah.
All right, I'm okay with that. And we're out of time.
We just had to bring it into the right context.
I was just like, we need to clarify what we're talking about here, because I don't necessarily think that professional athletes can also be bad people.
This reminds me the conversation that you and Lillian just had reminds me sometimes of arguments that my dad and I have at the same time, because it's like we're getting heated up, and then I realized later I was like, oh wait, we're arguing the same thing.
Just level set for a second.
We called that a
Sometimes
violent
I-
agreement at a few jobs
Sometimes
ago.
my dad will be about to say something, and I'll be like, Dad, you can't say that anymore, man.
Yeah.
All right.
So that is, I'm like, I know you're gonna say it, and you shouldn't say it. Don't say it.
So that has been our topics. As a reminder, we broadcast these live on YouTube every Thursday night, 9:30-ish Eastern and 6:30 Pacific. If you can't catch us live, then feel free to watch us on our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/@iftheseballspod. And don't forget to subscribe to us by tickling that little bell. We would like to thank our guests for joining us this week. Thank you, Lillian.
Thanks, Lil.
Thanks so much for coming back.
You can also follow or like us on our socials at IfTheseBallsPod on X, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and TikTok. Our website is www.iftheseballscouldstalkpod.com. This is Mark Pesci, and for my partner John Campagna and producer Pete Steffen, that's what we feel they would say if these balls could talk.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
If these balls